Hi, I'm Fadel Matta from the University of Georgia, and I'm going to be just quickly summarizing a presentation I did at Productivity Process a few years ago. Hope you find it useful. Really, it's mainly focused on kind of time management. And so it's really focusing on avoiding the noise or, kind of avoiding time sucks at work. On November 29th, 2018, I received an email from, this great and esteemed group of friends and colleagues, and, kind of asking me if I would present at Productivity Process, and provide some tips that I may have. And it was really an interesting, waking. I said, okay, this is kind of interesting because when I think back, only 11 years earlier, this was me. And so I worked for the Chicago Fire Major League Soccer team. And I would say, I lived for getting to happy hour and I wasn't a very good employee. And so I sat and said, what was this 11-year difference that I went from being this guy to being contacted to, present at Productivity Process. And I think one of the key things is, when I worked for the fire, I really embraced the noise. I was looking to distract myself. Whereas now, I do try to kind of limit that noise at work. So what's noise? What's noise? I think we think about a lot of the typical things. So, you may browse the internet at work, you may go to the water cooler to kind of talk, and stop by a colleague's office. You could take breaks, you can kind of mess around. But I think these are the obvious things, right? What I view as kind of noise in academia is anything that's not actually driving a manuscript forward. So if you're not writing on a manuscript, then it's noise. And so I think one of the things that I try to do is carve out, half a day to do writing. You can do other things at other times, but I think in academia, a lot of the things that we do is we set up meetings. And so often these are unnecessary. And so I have some recommendations in terms of, ways that you can kind of stack meetings or give specific times. Don't let people dictate to you when and how to meet. Teaching prep, right? If there's ways that you can eliminate, it's never perfect. There's always more that you can do. So I think kind of avoiding that actual noise. I've had bad colleagues before that make a lot of noise. I think you need to find a place where you can kind of really zero in and focus on your writing. Email. And then the last thing is data analysis. Okay, I'm a data geek, so I think I got into this really as a stats geek, and I love it. But the issue is it can be kind of time consuming, and it is explicit knowledge versus a lot of the other things that we do in terms of idea generation and writing. And so what I would suggest is that you invest in your doctoral students, that if you're a faculty member, if you're a student, invest in the younger doctoral students. I think this is an area where you can train people and share that explicit knowledge, and it can help you focus on your writing. So, what I have done is I really have some force multipliers. I think, my productivity is in large part thanks to doctoral students, in particular, my doctoral student there in the middle, Emma Frank. And so, I think they have really helped me become much more productive because they help push my projects forward and allow me to focus on writing, and vice versa. I try to do the same and reciprocate with them. And, who are my force multipliers when I was a PhD student? It's all of these, great doctoral students who are at Michigan State. I actually have a publication with each and every one of them. And so I think even as a doctoral student, you can really allow yourself to be more productive through investing in those relationships. So what is my advice to you? I think what we tend to do is we prioritize our time around deadlines or things that are kind of more proximal. But the problem is most of that stuff is noise. You can always find something to do. So what I think you should do is, I think, taking time to carve out half your day for actually focusing on moving manuscripts forward. In the other half, you can focus on all the noise that inevitably comes. I think you'll, be very, very productive in this career. And I think that's something that can kind of give you a competitive advantage. Thank you.